Little technical problem there. Forgot to mute the amplifier. So it fed right back through the. I'm sure you guys heard that. uh, Still learning all the buttons, but I am getting there. It is getting far better than it used to be. I want to welcome everyone to the stream. This is Music and Gear. If you're new here, we are trying to be a different kind of channel, something a little different on YouTube. We do product reviews, and we try to do a very deep dive on those product reviews. We also like sharing information. So on Thursday nights, every other week, we're having Tech Talk, and we have a professional technician that comes in, sits down with me, and we just do setups and just talk tech stuff, potentiometer switches. It's still in its very beginning stages, but I'm sure it's going to evolve. I know I spoke to Brian after the stream last Thursday night. He was super happy with it. We did talk, and for right now, we have decided to do every other week. So if that's something that you guys want to do every week, you most likely need to go to the Discord and, reach out to Brian and say, look, maybe every week, maybe you can alternate, set up stuff like that. Maybe electronics one week and then more, luthier type stuff the next week. I don't really know, but it's up to you guys. Any suggestions on how you'd like to see that show go and evolve? We're open to it, if that makes sense. I guess we need to talk about the elephant in the room. If unless you live under a rock, you probably already know what I'm going to say. What's sad is I purchased one of this company's product very recently. Um, I'm not gonna say that now I wish I didn't purchase the product. But I kind of knew it was coming. I kind of forgot about the lawsuit over in the UK and the no show from the other guitar builder. Now keep in mind, guys, I'm speaking of Fender. Now, in the United States, we don't have to worry about this. The Strat body is public domain. There's a difference between a trademark and a copyright. I'm not a lawyer. I don't get it, but I know there's differences. You know, if you trademark something, that's pretty much ironclad from what I understand. A copyright, um, it kind of goes out after X amount of time. And like Gibson, where's Fender been the last 30 years? I mean, where have they been? Everyone makes Strats. That's how Charvel started. They were just taking Fenders and reworking them and selling them, and then they started making custom versions. But then Fender bought Charvel. So Charvel still has the ability to use the Fender headstock. That's something that Fender has. No one can copy the headstock like the Tele headstock, the Fender headstock, whether it's the big 70s gaudy looking Strat headstock or, the smaller 60s headstock. That's the one I like. Even the Tele headstock. You really can't copy that. But the body shape, we don't have to worry about it here, guys. I hate to, and what's funny is we can talk all this, but then you have Gibson, on the other hand, wins lawsuits against Dean on body shapes that really are nothing like the Gibson shape, and then wins. So there's no consistency whatsoever. That there isn't. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but looking at the thing with Gibson, the Dean V was nothing like the Gibson V. Dean's Explorer was nothing like the Gibson Explorer, but Gibson still won. But everyone makes a Strat, and this has been in our court system before here in the United States, and it is lost. So I don't think here we have to worry too much about it. Do I feel bad that I just bought a Fender, 2 months ago? No, I don't. Fender's going to be around. Fender's probably the second largest musical company in the world. I'm going to put Cort above them simply due to their manufacturing scale. I don't know who's worth more, whether it's Cortex or Fender. Um, I don't know, but they're the two big players. And the weird thing about it is Cortex also makes Fender. So, you know, stop and think how many Strat style bodies there are. Every company makes one. I don't think I can think of a guitar company that makes an electric guitar. Well, I take that back. Does Gretsch make a Strat body guitar? I'm not too sure if Gretsch does. Um, they might, but there's very few companies that don't make some type of Strat body guitar. So for Fender to send out just a blanket across the board, um, and again, I think this was more aimed towards the UK. Um, I think it was a paste copy of Tolman. Whatever Tolman was selling, they said, okay, just send them out to these. I'm sure Paul Reed Smith got something. And at that point, it becomes, can they just not, is Fender just asking them in the UK? We're just going to have to find out what happens with it. I'm not, like I said, I'm not overly concerned. Everyone is made a Fender or a S style body. I mean, that would be a ridiculous lawsuit. If Fender actually thinks they're going to do that, I don't I don't see any reason why Kiesel, PRS, all these companies can just say, yeah, we make a Strat body, but we're not using their headstock. And they just all throw in a couple pennies and hire a lawyer and go to court.
Vox said Sears catalog guitar for the win.
Well, even at that point, uh, if it's a Strat body, they go after them too. I think the companies that got the letter was paste and copy off who Tolman was selling because it's UK. So in the UK, maybe Jet got one. I'm sure Harley Benton and Tolman directly got one. See, Tolman's kind of in a unique situation because they sell a product plus they also make a product under their umbrella. So not only did Tolman probably get one saying, hey, you can't resell these, we're asking you to stop, but they probably sent one to Harley Benton, which is owned by Tolman, to say, you can't manufacture these. It's kind of its infancy right now. I just don't see it going anywhere myself. Um, I think it comes down to customers. And if it does, there's laws in the UK too to protect the buyer. So that really limits, um, I guess it limits what you can buy. So I guess it depends on how these manufacturers approach it. Um, Paul Reed Smith, like I said, I think if they all went together, it would be easily beat. Um, I don't foresee it because it's already been beat in the United States. Now, UK is completely different. Something may come to where they just want a royalty or something. Sales are down, guys, point blank. All these companies want COVID to come back because they sold a shit ton of guitars. Everyone was sitting at home, and they ramped up manufacturing, and that's just not going to happen. They made so many guitars. The used market is just freaking flooded with guitars, and you can see it. Go over to Musician's Friend. Man, they're doing some stupid blowout deals on brand new guitars. Before you buy a used instrument right now that's like a year old, go over to Musician's Friend I think that's going to be like the dumpster diving for Guitar Center. I'm pretty sure that's what that's going to end up being. Scratch, dent, returns. That's going to be where all that stuff goes. But they've got Paul Reed Smith's, like $1,000 guitars marked down to like 600. They've got some really stupid deals over there. I was looking yesterday on it. Um, I can't remember all the models, but there's some really stupid deals over there. And that just tells you how soft the market is. And you can also look at Paul Reed Smith the last 3 years. What have they done right around Black Friday? They have put $200 to $700 discounts across the board on their products. Why are they doing that? Paul Reed Smith would rather sell the product, okay, at a bare minimum mark and get that stuff off the shelf and clear it for the new models that are coming out, 2027 models. So you can pretty much guarantee you Paul Reed Smith's going to do that again this year. I think a lot of these manufacturers will follow suit, but Paul Reed Smith the last 3 years have done it. The last 2 years I've thought really seriously about getting a really nice SE. They had the, I guess it's like the McCarty that has the Floyd Rose in it. It's the import. I think it's normally like $1,200. Last Black Friday, right after Black Friday going into December, you could have got that guitar for $800. That's like $400 off. Now, I know the Floyd Rose Paul Reed Smith isn't a big seller, but for me, that's one, if I bought a Paul Reed Smith, at that time I was really leaning towards that style instrument. So I kept seeing this thing, and then the following year they did the exact same thing. So I'm kind of curious, will that hold suit this year? Because again, sales are soft, guys. These companies, they've made too much stuff. And I think YouTube has really changed the playing field, especially during COVID. Everyone was sat at home. They were watching YouTube. And a lot of these channels that we look at now that are super channels, I don't have to tell you, anything over 200,000 subs, I'll call a super channel. A lot of these channels just exploded during COVID. Why? People were home. They had plenty of time. The sales marketing, okay, on YouTube is what Amazon was 8, 9, 10 years ago on reviews. It really is. AI, and I forget what's it, Chat GPT or whatever it is. That's a horrible, lot of misinformation there. But people go there for product reviews or ask it, is it a good product? YouTube was that spot. And I think AI is kind of stealing part of that, just like it is from Amazon. But YouTube is still a solid source, and you've got all these channels now doing what I don't really call them really reviews. It's more just tell everyone the product's great, play on it a little bit, and put a product link up. And they pull the company line. That's pretty much, I'll say 80%, or we'll be nice. We'll say 75% of YouTube is that way. I'm not going to say any more than that because YouTube is also really bad about hiding good content. Sometimes I find a channel and the guy's been on for 8, 9 years and it's just now showing it to me. And the channel's got great content. And that's really sad because that's the content I like. And YouTube's like, well, you don't watch it because you throw me the exact same crap constantly. So that's all I ever see is the crap reviews, crap channels. I'm not saying, it's not for me. I like long format, detailed, well-informed stuff.
Jitboy says the problem is shilling on YouTube by unknown people, by influencers, and some of the product is bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's like being a car salesman. YouTube is very much like that. If sometimes a lot of these channels, they're making a living on YouTube. YouTube pays nothing. So the only way to make money is to have those. I mean, they're here on this channel, but I'm not affiliated with any of these. I just finished editing one of our live reviews, okay? And I had to make a choice. When I uploaded it to YouTube, YouTube said, would you like to, it was something about the manufacturer of this instrument has a YouTube page. If I share my video, I did it this one time. I don't know what YouTube is going to do, but it said there was a lot of pluses, but I also give my rights away to my content to the main source. Okay. And it says that it's now a paid promotion video. Well, if that's the case, that company should have sent me the guitar. So after seeing that, some of these, they may have to still put that up even though they purchased the instrument. So I think that video is scheduled for Monday. So when you guys see it, they did not send me that guitar. But YouTube is auto-generating that. It's going to make you think that because I elected to share that video with the company's YouTube page.
What do you think of ToneX?
ToneX. I've never personally played ToneX. I think it's like anything else. If you mess with it, I think you can get good tones out of it. To sit down with it the first day and get a good tone out of it, I don't know. I think I'm getting a decent sound out of my Line6 Stomp now, my HX Stomp. I used it as a travel thing because I could just plug my headphones in it, but I never cared for the sounds. I have been using it solely now for about a month and a half, and I've gotten a lot better at making it sound, I think, okay now. So I think ToneX is the exact same thing, depending on what you're used to setting up, whether it's it's an actual amp like we got here, these are amps, or a rack mount, with digital signal processors, or you're running a modeler or something. Depending on whatever you're used to, there's a learning curve, and what you may be used to as far as getting your sound. I'm going to tweak the treble here. I'm going to add a little gain. I'm going to add some compression. I'm going to put my reverb here. You may have to relearn, just a little bit. That way, certain things work well with other things in the ToneX architecture. And that's what I've been struggling with my Line6 Stomp. I'm struggling with the architecture because I'm so used to applied research technology. I know if I put the reverb in front of the delay or the chorus after the delay, whatever it is, I know how that's going to affect the other effect because I've had the unit a long time. And there's really hardly any combinations that I haven't experimented with. Wherein the Line6, I go, okay, I normally do this. And when I do it in the Line6 Stomp, it just sounds like a blanket over my cabinet. So I just approached it completely different. I got on YouTube and I typed in how to get a good sound on an HX Stomp. And I watched 15, 20 videos. I sat down with it and said, okay, he's putting this here, and just getting a framework on how they're doing things. And I immediately started seeing improvements, ditching everything that I thought I knew. So the ToneX sells, and I don't ever hear anyone just flat out saying it's junk. It's a modeler or a capture device, whatever you want to call it. It's fake. As long as you can get a good, real, semi-real sound out of it, and it works for you, don't let a YouTuber tell you that it's junk. Lord knows I had enough people tell me that this is junk. I know many professional people played the ART SGX 2000 out live for many years. How can you call it junk? It's 30 years old and it still works like new. I mean, That's a hard pill to swallow. Now you may not like I don't like some of the effects. It has the art effect. I get it. But all these years I've learned how to program around it. Just like people using a Kemper. A Kemper has certain things that people are like, and they find workarounds. And I don't care whether it's Axe Effects or Quad Cortex, they're all of them. If you talk to somebody, well, I can't do that, so I figured out a workaround. There's going to be a workaround for anything, okay? Somebody's wanting to do X and they can't quite get it, so they do a workaround. So I think once you figure out the limitations or where it's strong and where it's weak, and you learn how to balance those, today's equipment is stupid good. It's stupid good. Linnell has a little Yamaha THR10 amp. Man, we used that little amplifier on our live streams for a long time. And there's no USB out. How did I do it? I come right out of the headphone jack, the 1/8-inch headphone jack, split it to 2 XLRs right into the interface. Awesome little amp. And I'm comparing my Line6 Stomp to that because I like the distortion in that Yamaha. That little THR desktop amp sounds more realistic, in my opinion, than the Line6. The Line6 has more of a scratchy kind of artificial sound. So learn your equipment. I mean, I've got so much stuff, and I don't toy with it enough, and there's a gentleman here, Kurt, he has a small studio. He told me, he goes, that Line6 Stomp you have is the best piece of gear you have for doing what you're doing. And he's probably right. And I'm getting better and better at programming this thing and trying to get a decent sound out of it. It's quite capable. People use that little thing in a rack mount drawer, and they'll have 2 of them, one for a backup, and that's all the band has. I know many bands that use just that. The guy has no amplifier. They're just using an HX Stomp. It's got a little effects loop. They want something a little different. They might have a couple of little things added to it, but their core is an HX Stomp.
Kurt said the Yamaha THR10 does have USB audio out.
It does?
Apparently.
Okay. I only used it to connect the computer to adjust. So I always come out of it from the headphone jack, and it worked fine. Now my HX Stomp, it is set up a little differently. I'm coming out of the main outs directly to the board. Essentially the exact same thing. Headphone out is just like a, just like a preamp out. It's not an amplified, but I've been working on it. So this is the sound I've been working on. And it's different depending on what guitar you plug in. You're going to get a little bit different sound. So what I've been trying to work on is a sound that I can plug my Tele in, okay? I can plug my RGA in, or I can plug my Schecter Mach 6 in, something that works across the board with my guitars, because I need a good solid distortion sound to demo guitars. Something that you guys will start to understand, and you'll be able to go, oh, that's Avery's sound. That guitar sounds like poop. Once you recognize that, and I'm not changing it, you'll start to get an idea of what the guitar actually does. So here's the distortion that I've been working on. It's far better than what I had 2 months ago. Far better. It's the problem that I have with the Line 6, when you start really gaining it, it loses definition. You lose the you lose the pop on the strings, and everything just becomes a wash. It's so dirty and so scratchy sounding. There's no definition left. I like high gain, and I think a good high gain amp, you can have a tremendous amount of gain and keep that definition. I just haven't figured out how to get the Line6 Stomp to do that. So this is about as much gain as I can get. Okay, now it's not as gainy. If I plug my Schecter Mach 6 in, it's going to sound much more ballsier in this preset than this Telecaster. Okay, so keep that in mind. So I don't want to change the gain setting. The point in it is, this is my high gain setting. Once you start to get an idea of what different guitars sound at, you'll go, okay, that guitar just doesn't have the push that the Schecter has.
EQ in loop tightens it up.
Yes, it does. An EQ in the loop, you can do a lot with an EQ. Let me kind of show you what we've got on the HX Stomp, since now that you've said that. So here's the HX Stomp, and this is my settings. So we'll start right here. This is threshold, decay, and in. This is the first thing that you have to set up. Here's our first effect. Sensitivity, mix, and level. It's a red squeeze. I like this little guy. It reminds me of a much simpler BBE. I don't think it's as effective as the BBE Sonic Maximizer, but it works similarly. Kinda.
Is that from the humbuckers giving a deeper sound?
What this one kind of just enhances the tone. The reason I like the BBE better, you have two contours. Like the one I have, you have a low and a high contour and a level. So it really accentuates the harmonics of the high and gives it a really nice bottom end. This is more like a tone control. Okay. Yeah, if you turn the tone down, it gets bassier, and you turn the tone up, it gets more, tinny.
Less compression, fatter sound.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's like a cheap BBE. That's what I'm thinking this red squeeze is. And I could be wrong, because guys, I did not use pedals. Okay, so I'm going by rack mount gear. That's how I see this particular unit. So then we go right into my boost, and this is a two-stage boost pedal. So you can see my gain settings here: tone, presence, and now I'm not cranking my presence. Okay. Second one, you can see we're using overdrive, and then the second one's on distortion, higher, and I have it set to 18 volt. So you can look at those settings. And here's our amp using a Cal. I don't know what that's supposed to be modeling. If someone knows what this, I'm sure Line6 can't put the actual amp model. So this is emulating some kind of amp. Like, this is the Injoy, but I'm not sure what this is supposedly supposed to be emulating. But here's the settings for the amplifier. And you can see that I have my bias turned up on this. If you turn the bias down, I've noticed that it does get a little cleaner sounding, but you kind of lose more feel. I have found most settings about here, or where my cursor is on the bias, gives you a nice, more tubey sound. Same with sag. Hum, I don't... This one's turned up more than I normally do, but I'm thinking that this works. Any suggestions is greatly appreciated. Here's the delay. So you can see I'm not using much delay. Bit depth, sample rate, mix. Our mix is only at 21% level.
Brad Rocker said the Cal is a Mesa rectifier.
Oh, well, it sounds nothing like a Mesa rectifier. Maybe it's just my settings, but I definitely don't have it sounding like a Mesa rectifier. And here's our four voice chorus settings. And then here's the output stage. So that's what I'm using. And I'm getting with this. Now, this is a standard Telecaster. Stock pickups. The only thing I've done to it is change the pick guard right here. So. And the gains are up on that. So that really doesn't, well, maybe I'm used to a dual rectifier. That's got more, maybe the standard rectifier does have more of a Marshall-y sound. This sounds more hot-rodded Marshall-y to me. That sounds more Marshall-y to me. So that's the sound I'm getting with the Tele. Now I'm going to unplug it.
DMT Guitar says, I just cranked my volume to 11 and we're good to go.
Actually, there's no amp in the room here, guys. The only way I hear the guitar is my headphones.
Jip Boy, I hope I'm saying that right, says I use sag saturation around 1.5 to 2.5 for each at most.
Okay. Hold on. So he says sag.
Sag saturation.
Okay. Sag, I'm at 3.7 on sag. And what did he say on the other one?
He said around 1.5 to 2.5 for each at most.
Oh, well, I'm close on the sag. I'm at 2.7. Ripple, I'm at 4.2, and bias at 4.5. Now, this bias X, I don't really know what that's doing in the amp, but I've noticed when I turn this up, it really starts getting muddy.
What's the amp?
On bias X. Hold on, I'll go back to the display screen. So on bias X, this bottom one, I have noticed if I go really past 1.5 on that, it to me, it starts getting very flubby. Exact same thing with Ripple and sag.
What's the amp sound like with less chorus?
With less chorus? We can just turn the chorus off. How about that? Okay, hold on. This is with, now I just changed guitars. Let me check tune. This guitar is tuned to C sharp. It's close enough. So you heard the Tele. I haven't changed any settings yet. The Tele does better on the up pick. It's got a more smack you in the face. If we split the coil, so let's split the coil on this one. And this isn't dropping the whole coil back here. So it's still hum canceling because it's a coil tap. So I think that makes this, it doesn't sound like a Tele, but it gives it that. Okay, we are going to you just heard it. Now we're going to turn the chorus off. So now there's, oh, I thought I could turn it off. It just erased it. Oh, that really sucks. Yeah, now I've got a shit ton of chorus. Well, that just sucks. I'm sure there's a way of doing it, guys. I just don't know. All right, here's the preset without chorus. Full humbucker mode. The switch guitars, go back to the Telecaster. I don't think it really needs the chorus for that style, if that makes sense. So here's back to the Telecaster. So that gives you an idea. And then I'll have to figure out how to, is there a way of actually keeping, just muting one particular, oh, well, it's saved.
So I would,
Hold on. I got it, guys. Even though I screwed it up, I haven't hit save yet. So if I just click to a dead preset and I go back to it, my chorus is back. Now I will say this is with the chorus. Instantly, without the chorus, listen to it. This is with chorus. It sounds more in the background. Now we're going to take the chorus out, and you're going to instantly notice it sounds more forward in the room. It's more forward.
Add chorus at like 7-10%.
All right, I'm going to click out and go back so I get the original chorus. 7 or 10%?
7 to 10%.
Well, I have a depth 4.3 here. I'm going to switch to display so you can see it. These are the settings. So I have a level, which is decibel, and then I have a mix of 9. What did he say? 7
to 10%.
All right, this is 7%. I think it needs more level. We're at -5 there. Let's turn it back a little more. That's 7%.
Wicked Fester said you should be able to back those patches up to a file on your computer.
Yeah, I did. I was, unless I hit save, I can always click out of it and then back in it. So basically what I did, like, watch, if I don't hit save, these are our settings, and I click out, okay, it destroys that. So if we go down to modulation, then I go back to 4 voice, it goes, this is whatever the factory, that's what it wants to load when you first put it in. So pay attention to that. All I got to do is go down to an empty preset. And then if I go back, my original settings are restored because I have it saved. So that was 9%.
Is this the Wing or the Line 6?
Everything you're hearing is Line 6.
Well, what do you have on the computer?
There's nothing on the computer.
Display screen. What is that?
This is the HX Edit.
Okay.
HX Stomp Edit. So this is everything that's in the HX Stomp. So I'm pretty sure it's called HX. Yeah, HX Edit for the HX Stomp. So if you have an HX Stomp, you just go to Line 6 and download HX Edit, and it allows you to edit the program in your Line 6. Okay, so here's all the stuff in the HX Stomp. And then you can pick, like this is modulation. We're just using 4-voice chorus. But you can use, well, I'm not going to say you can use any of them because the processing power on this is kind of limited. So if you use like one or two let's say you use one or two very demanding high resource effects, you can only use like 3 things. But if you use cheaper, something that's not tying up as much CPU in the HX Stomp, it'll allow you to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think like 8 effects max. I've never been able to use 8, but I know there's 8 slots. Usually past 5, it doesn't want to do anymore. Yeah, honey.
Add chorus, but put it at like 10.
Okay, well, here's the chorus. We were at stock, we were at 9. My original setting was 9. So here's the mix is at 10%. And a lot, this rate, this makes a big change in it too. Like we're at 0.5 hertz. So if we turn this back. What's that, hon?
Billy said try some hammer-ons and pull-offs to alternate. It'll add flavor.
See, I watch other YouTube channels and I hear some guys, they use a lot of freaking effects. It's so much effects I don't even hear the guitar anymore. All I hear is effects. I'm trying to get a good sound and you can still hear the guitar. I think a lot of guitar players, especially if you're playing out live, don't do that to your poor sound guy. This is probably too much effects on my guitar to go out and play live with, because I'm not giving the sound guy enough room to make me sound like I'm in the same building as the singer or the bass player or the drummer. He has to be able to do that. And if the bass player has a shit ton of delay and you've got delay and they're not set the same and his delay is hitting it different, they're doing this, everything needs to be in sequence. So the more crap you put in your signal and the more crap the bass player has in his signal, the harder it is for the sound guy to fix it.
You got a few people who said that sounded better.
Yeah, this right here. I'm I'm playing more. You know, guys, I'm trying to step outside my comfort zone, and that's playing hair music. So I'm really trying. I'm really dig. I don't even know what style you would call that. Progressive blues. It's not blues, and it's not. It's drop tuning. So I don't know if blues artists use drop tuning or not. Maybe it's. I don't know what you call this.
Billy said Hendrix it.
What's that?
Billy said try some fuzz or a flanger. Seriously, Hendrix it.
I got standards. I can't use a fuzz. I got one speaker in this cabinet that's getting ready to blow. So when it blows, I'll have a natural fuzz. Guys, I've never been into fuzz pedals. A fuzz pedal, it was someone that had a real crappy cabinet with blown speakers, and someone said, "Wow, that sounds great." That's just my opinion. If you like fuzz pedals, great. It just sounds like a blown speaker cabinet. That's how that sound become. There's a point where the speaker isn't completely gone. Maybe the cone's torn, and it just has that about ready to give up the ghost sound. That's what a fuzz pedal is. I'm just not really into that. I like the tighter distortion tones. I like the sounds of the Sedano. I like the Friedman sounds. I like some dual rec sounds. Some of this new modern dual rectifier, and they're pushing the front of that. Some of those new artists doing, I guess it's like some of these drop tunings. Their freaking guitar sounds amazing. The drawback is it sounds good in the chording, and then when they go to the lead, they punch it up even more, and it just becomes lost. So I've yet to really hear a band get that low tune to where the leads are still articulate. And I get it. It's a sound. I like the rhythm sound. I just don't really care for the lead. The lead is so overly saturated. Me personally, I think it's a little too much. I can't. It no longer sounds like a guitar.
Kurt said he hates fuzz. He never uses it.
Yeah, I'm not a fuzz person, but that's the great thing, guys. I was never a Tele guy. I mean, if anyone from Shenandoah Music's in the group tonight, Brian or something, they probably will tell you. I've been shopping there for years, and I'm sure that I made a comment that only a country bumpkin would play a Tele. I'm sure I've made that comment.
I know you have.
But now I see it differently.
Now you're a country bumpkin.
Yeah, now I'm a country bumpkin. The Telecaster is a freaking rocking ass guitar. I mean, maybe it's just me, but I think this Telecaster sounds fantastic. Am I going to be playing death metal with it? Probably not with these single coils, but I think it sounds awesome. To me, that's got some spank to it, And it just has a sound, and I can't get that sound out of my RGA. And that's the point in having a different guitar. I can't get that sound out of my other guitars. So this is a guitar, unless I get a better Tele, okay, this one's going to be around for a while because it's like my Nashville Strat. It just has a sound, and only my Nashville Strat has that sound. I have a lot of super Strats. So maybe I'm getting older, but I'm just digging the... I'm sorry, that's rocking. That's a rocking sound. And if it's not your cup of tea, that's cool. I think that, and what I hear in my headphones, that sounds rocking.
Mr. Fat says, is that Tele the standard Fender that so many YouTubers hate it saying it's a Squire?
Yes, this is the one that all the YouTubers don't like. But I'm telling you, the 2026 is freaking awesome. Now, in 2025, they were dogs. I'm going to be honest with you. They had some noisy pickups in them. In 2026, Fender's upped their game. And of course, they did charge you more. This guitar now is $79 more than the first gen. So this is a second gen standard. Go back and watch the review. The electronics cavity completely shielded. In here, shielding paint. All inside the cavities, shielding paint. Okay? Better fretwork, better pickups. I mean, I think it's a great guitar. It does what a Tele is supposed to do. And it drives. You know, I think this is a really nice Tele. I was going to put different pickups on it, but I don't think so. That's fine. That to me, that's fine. The pickup, they're not microphonic. Check, 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 check. I mean, they're single coils. Listen. There's no 60 cycle hum. It's quiet. The switch is quiet. I mean, you know, everyone, each to their own. I'm telling you that this is a great Tele, but I'm not going to throw the vintage vibe Squire. That's a fantastic instrument. If all you have is $500, don't feel, you know, the vintage vibe. I'm telling you, that's one hell of a Telecaster. And if you like a traditional Fender Stratocaster, don't buy a Fender. Don't. I mean, if you like the old sound of a Strat, the classic Stratocaster sound, buy a Vintage Vibe Squire. It sounds more Stratty than a Fender Strat. And that's the God honest truth. If you want that sound, that Jimi Hendrix sound, buy a Vintage Vibe. Crank the piss out of your Marshall with some speakers that are really worn out, and there's your Jimi Hendrix sound.
Chief Joe said, actually, the bridge pup should be a stacked bucker.
This one? It may be. Maybe that's why it's so freaking quiet. But it's a quiet guitar. And the first gen was not that way. But if you look at Fender specs, they're claiming on the standard models they have CLR switches in it, and they do not in 2026. They did cheapen the guitar and put a box switch in it. But they did put alpha pots in it. So you have alpha pots, but you've got an alpha box switch.
Wicked Fester said, nice thing with the Tele is if you want to change that switch, the strings don't need to come off.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very utilitarian guitar. That's why I was picking on myself, saying, you know, I would never buy a Telecaster. But now, maybe I'm getting old. You know, I don't think that's the case. John 5, that dude freaking rocks. He plays a Telecaster. Now, granted, it's got humbuckers on it, but it's a Telecaster. You know, the body is very resonant. I have a set neck Telecaster, and if you never heard a Fender makes a set neck, there's no bolts. It's made like a Les Paul. It's called an FMT. I freaking love my Fender FMT Telecaster. It has Pearly Kate Seymour Duncan pickups in it. It sounds awesome. It plays awesome. That thing's a rocking machine. And it's 2 pounds lighter than a Les Paul on average.
Mr. Fett said Avery's right. The classic vibe Squire beats any China-made clone like the Potscaster and those other brands.
You know, if you have the money, that's the thing. If you have the money to buy a vintage vibe Squire, buy that guitar. The pickups are in it are solid. The construction's solid. It's a solid guitar. When you buy budget brand stuff, it always needs something. You got to stop and think, guys. At $450, right now where I live, gas is $4.39.
Yeah.
$4.39 a gallon. Yeah. So to fill up my work truck, I need about $125 to $130 to fill up my truck. So you're talking, you can buy a guitar on Amazon, a Groat, for $107. So filling up my truck in gas costs more than a Groat. Or, 3 or 4 tanks of fuel, you get a vintage vibe. Or 8 trips to McDonald's with your family. And I don't think you could get 8 trips because normally when we go, it's just 3 of us here, and it's usually $40 at McDonald's. So your dollar doesn't go near as far as it used to go. So when someone keeps talking about $200 guitar, $200 guitar, $300 guitar, I'd like to buy a $200 guitar too. But the cheapest good $300 guitar that I have found so far that's repeatable, we just sent to Steve because he wanted it. That Gretsch Steamliner for $319, it's a great guitar for $319. Is it perfect? No. The pickups are a little, but the tuning keys are smooth. The fretwork's decent. The fit and finish on it's good. It's made by a reputable company. It's a good, solid guitar. If that was my guitar, what I would do to it, again, the first thing I would do to it is replace the tuning keys. And even though I just said they were smooth, the ratio sucks. So as you're tuning it, it's not as fine as it needs to be because it's got a standard nut. So you need to be able to, get in there. I think they're like 15 to 1. Are they bad? Absolutely not. So if you don't put tuning keys on it, you're like, well, these are smooth, they're fine. Don't worry about it. The only thing you'd have to do then is put some really nice pickups on it. Are the pickups horrible? No. I think you could put an EQ pedal between the guitar and the amp, and you could play it out live the way it is right now. The drawback to that is if you have another guitar, the pickups in that guitar are going to be voiced a little differently. So what you could technically do, you could put some capacitors in line on the pickups, and start playing around with that. You can revoice a pickup by adding a capacitor in line with the pickup. I'm not going to tell you what to do. 10 IU to or 1,000, something like that. There's maybe 100. It's like an I with a U on the end. Start there, maybe at 200. See what you like. The bigger the number, the darker it's going to get. You could probably play around with that. But at that point, you can get a decent set of budget pickups like these pickups. These are guitar heads, $60. Drop a set of guitar head pickups in that Gretsch and put some nice, I like hip shot. These are goth on this one. Hip shot you can get, if you look, on Amazon for about $55. So that puts you at like $115 for parts. That's still a cheap guitar. It still puts that guitar under $450. Then you got to go, okay, for $450, what can I buy that I don't need to replace my pickups and has good tuners? And that's what I always tell people. Just look and think before you buy. Because before you know it, you're going to have a lot in the budget guitar. And there are some budget guitars out there that I think pass. The Firefly Mad Cat, I think the pickups in that guitar from the factory were great. The only thing that guitar really, in my opinion, needed, if I was going to go out and play live with it, I'd put a pure tone jack in it. And Firefly is bad for their tuners going out in a year and a half. So put a pure tone jack in it, put some quality tuners on it, and rock that thing. It's a fantastic instrument. You'll have about 300 on it. That's a great guitar. And there's some other Fireflies that hit that. The issue is you don't know until you buy it, because each production run is different. They had a run of Mad Cats that were awful. 2 runs after the one I purchased, I got a lot of people saying, oh, the tuners are bad. They had problems with the grounding from the factory, wasn't grounded right on the bridge, you know. So as long as it's a good production run, I think you can make that happen. But it's all taste, guys. You know, when I bought this, I just wanted a standard Telecaster. They had another one that had a humbucker up next in the neck position that I thought I really liked. I didn't buy that one because I just wanted a plain Jane. I just wanted a Tele, just a regular Telecaster. This is what I wanted. So I've already got my humbucker Tele, so I'm covered. And I've got this one. This one has a really nice high mass hip shot bridge on it that I put on it, and Go-To tuners. So this guitar is hot rodded. I love this guitar. And I picked a guitar that I already liked. You know, you go back probably over a year now, I've been playing RGAs. Linnell bought a blue one, and I just thought it was fantastic. So I bought this one. I thought it was fantastic. I started with something good already, and I just made it better. With the RGA, you don't really have to do anything to it. The quantum pickups are nice, the stock bridge is nice, the stock tuners are nice. It's a solid instrument for $450. I just wanted to take it to the next level, and I think this guitar does that.
I think it's boxed down.
Check out my wiring, guys. Those pots are shoehorned in there. I mean, look at the rounding in there. It's just a well-made guitar for the asking price, and it's got the matching headstock. A lot of the under $500 Ibanez's, they paint the headstock black, so they have the matching headstock on this one. Okay, guys, if you know the channel, we always take a break. I don't know how many people are in here chilling out with us. We got 28. This is a good time. Yeah, diesel. No, diesel here is almost $6 where we're at. Yeah, you're at 570 on diesel backwoods. It's almost it's crazy. If you're not familiar with the channel, I don't require you to hit the sub button to chat. I want you to come in, chat, and be part of the community. Come in, voice your opinion, tell me what you have and why you like it. No one here is right or wrong. We're just talking products, and you guys have changed my mind on a lot of things. You know, they keep, a lot of times you keep saying, well, try this, and I keep hearing it from other people. I hear it from 2 or 3 people. I'm like, okay, this has some merit. This isn't just someone shooting the breeze. So I kind of go out and I look. And that doesn't mean that I'll necessarily like it, but I think it expands how we play the guitar and what we feel works. And as long as we can do that, and we're big boys here, we can come in and say, I dislike that and this is why. I think that's what makes the community grow, and that's how we learn, if that makes sense. But I do want you to subscribe to that, if I can talk. Even though I'm not requiring you to, we do work very hard here. We have I think, YouTube's best guitar reviews. It takes a lot of time and a lot of effort to do what we do here. And there's a lot of people behind the scenes like Steve, Devastator, Linnell, people that run the Discord and help with all the other stuff, if that makes sense. So it's not just me There's a bunch of us here that work really hard because why? We love guitars and we love music, and we want to be different. Okay, and to be different, we always take a break in our live stream. So it's usually about 8 minutes, guys. This allows you to go to the restroom, get a snack, and get a drink, and then you can also talk amongst yourselves. And when we come back, we're going to hit some new topics. Let's move forward, or we can revisit the HX Stomp if you guys want to go over settings, or we can make a new preset. It really doesn't matter what you guys want. It's open chat Saturday. So let's take our break, and we'll be right back. Now I just got to figure out which button to hit. there it is, boys. There's my baby. You can call it outdated, you can call it anything, you just can't call it late for dinner or broken. Very, very, very top of the rack. We have my wireless system, and it has been updated to sped spectrum technology, so it hops frequencies. Right below that, I have a Friedman and Sedano module, and this is the SYN2 Synergy rack. Below that is my actual amp, my preamp. It's an SGX 2000 Express that has the twin tube ADA mod done to it. Below that, we have Audio Media Research, which was bought out by Peavey. This is a line amplifier designed to go after your ADAT stage for recording. It was designed to warm up digital signals. So this is in the effects loop of all my digital effects, okay, in the art. So all my digital effects come out of effects loop 2, go into this, they're warmed up with there's 3 12AX7s in it, then back into the art. So it adds a little color and takes that artificial digital fake sound out of the art. Then underneath that, we have a 362. This one has the low contour and high contour, so it doesn't have like the shape and contour. This one's just twin contour. And whatever you do to one side, it automatically does to the other side. So it is stereo. And then I'm running a BK Butler Pro Valve, which has 4 6L6 tubes on it. This was my rig for many, many years, guys. I just recently added, about a year and a half ago, the Synergy. And I'll be honest with you, I think it's a little better as far as the distortion, but it's not tremendously better than what I could get out of the modified preamp stage in the art. Using, I would use the twin tube modified section, and then use the solid state gain stage in front of it to boost the twin tube, and it does really well. If you go back and watch some of my older reviews, it's an open mic in the room, and this is the preamplifier that I was getting those 80 sounds out of. It's quite capable. So that's what I was kind of used to using. So switching up and going all digital for me has been an experience, and I think a lot of people, especially my age, that once played out live and had what I call loud stage volumes, today it's really different. It's a completely different monstrosity out there. I don't play out anymore. I just, I don't have the time. I don't even have enough time to do the things that I need to do here. So for me to be in a band with everything that I do, it's really an impossibility for me. The only way I could do it is I could maybe go out once a month for one night, and it would have to be a group of guys just like me that get together one night, go over it, and just nail it and then play out. And that's hard to do. That would be something that you would have to work on over several months, or know the musicians that you're playing with well enough to know where they're going. And I haven't played with anyone in that fashion in a long time, so I stepped back from it. YouTube is my thing now. So coming on here, playing for you guys, doing guitar reviews, and just my journey, changing. Because let me switch cameras here, and we'll show you something here. I'll have to move my guitar out of the way. So if I go to here, so here's my rack, and that has really changed me. The wing rack has done so much. Has it been easy? Absolutely not. I've had some issues. It's not an equipment problem, it's an Avery problem. But I'm learning. You can see all the effects that I have up here, all my limiters, my gates. I don't use any of it anymore. The only thing we're using up here now is my headphone amplifier. I just found it easier. It's not tying up all my outs on the wing. And the output to the control room monitors are fed from the HM400. So I come right out of the wing, into the HM400, out of the HM400 to the amplifier to the control room monitors. It's really, it's stupid simple, and I like that. I don't have to mess too much with um, changing my signal path and tying up certain outputs, if that makes sense. So the back over here looks dark now because I moved this. This light has the one camera on it. So let me move that back over where it was. I wanted to show the amplifier. Okay, guys, so what's going to be the new topic?
Well, Jupe said, Avery, do you want to get famous? Let Linnell put a mustard yellow pick guard on your Tele or a pink one, instant star.
Well, I got news for everybody. My looks like someone threw up over the guitar with mustard squirted on it. Sweetwater has updated the availability to this month.
Let me correct you. It looks like cat and vomit.
Oh, cat poop and vomit with mustard squirted on it. It's saying now May. Before that guitar was saying August. So evidently there's been communication with Sire. So maybe have that guitar by the end of the month. If no one knows what we're talking about, let me pull that up real quick and see if I can find that guitar. Wow, I've got a lot of windows open. Yeah. Someday I'm going to learn how to use a computer. I am going to Sweetwater. Sire T7. Yeah. Gotta put a space there. All right, I found it. I click on the right one. So, here's the guitar, guys. And I know you guys are like, oh my God, what in the blazing hell is that? That's going to be my next guitar. I've been waiting on it. I was the first person to put one on pre-order.
Why do you think the inductance should be twice the resistance?
It shouldn't be twice. Inductance should be at bare minimum half. Anything over that, what I've found, talking to other people that know pickups and other techs, it's a way the company has of cheating. So it's all about saving money, especially in budget brands. So let's say you have a 16K on your pickup. If your Henrys or inductance should be at least 9 or under, really that pickup should be in the 7 or 8 range. And again, pickups are taste, but once you get above 9, okay, and let's say you're at 16. Anything above 8 on that, what they've done is the magnets, when they charge them, put them in the machine, they're overcharging the magnets, okay? And they're decreasing the winds on the pickup. There's a bunch of different ways to get to 16 or 14K. You know, copper's expensive. Either way, they're buying the metal to make the magnet out of. How much charge they put in that magnet is based on the manufacturer. How much charge do they put in it when they put it in the machine? If you overcharge it, you don't need as many windings to create the magnetic field. So a warmer pickup will have a lower K, and the inductance or the Henrys are going to be stupid low. That's just what I've found. And that doesn't mean like the quantums, they're right at just under 50%. And I like that pickup. And I've played some right at 50% or just a fraction over. They start getting a little bit of a microphonic quacky sound to them as well. Not that they're microphonic, but they pick up your pick attack really bad, and they're bright and scratchy sounding, if that makes sense. That's just what I've found. Another person might tell you otherwise. I just found if the Henrys are under half or at half, that's where you want to be as far as bare minimum. I found most of the pickups I like are a fraction over a third or at a third. Henrys and inductance to the K rating. And the higher that K rating, the harder that becomes.
But inductance is not magnetic strength.
No, it's not reading that. It's not. But to get that K rating up, they're throwing more charge in the magnet and decreasing the wind. You can get it either way. If I throw a weak magnet in there that doesn't have much charge and I throw a shit ton of windings on it, I can get that pickup to read 16K. Okay? Or I could throw bare minimum windings on it and throw really high output magnets on it. I can get it to read 16K. That's why a lot of people that review budget guitars, they don't go over inductance and Henrys. And those two readings, guys, there's not many people that tell you those, but that's real basic. It's very basic. There's so much more to it than that. Okay. I always refer people over to Dylan Talks Tone. You don't necessarily have to like the man. I personally like how he approaches things because he has a point of view and opinion, and he explains why that opinion is, and he backs it up with, laying stuff out on the table and testing it and showing you, and then he plays it. So it's not just his saying this or that. Okay. My pickup building experience is one pickup. I've only made one pickup in my life, but I've tested a lot of pickups. And testing pickups and listening to what I like and what I see in manufacturers when I take the cheap pickups out and I take the cloth wrapping off and I look at what's on the bobbin and I remember what it tested at, that's usually a pretty good sign. When you get like a Leo James that's testing 16 and the inductance is at 10, when you take that pickup apart and you go, and look at the copper wire. It's going to have a silvery look to it. It's a very cheap copper. They've added a lot of aluminum and secondary material on it to lower that cost of that wire. The higher the grade of copper makes a difference. The gauge of that wire makes a difference. So people go, we're going to throw a number out. Let's say 7,000 winds. Depending on the gauge of the wire, you may not be able to fit 7,000 winds on it. Okay. Maybe you can only, if you go up a gauge, maybe you can only fit 5,500 winds on it. And it's going to affect the way the pickup sounds. And all of this, believe me, I've said this a couple times. If you look at it on a scope, there's a hump. Okay. When you start messing around, all you're doing is moving that hump to the bright side or the low side or the width of the hump. I know that's really basic, but that's essentially what it is. It might be a little taller, a little fatter, a little narrower, but you're just kind of moving it back and forth. How you get it to do that, you just got to talk to a more experienced person than me, if that makes sense. That's why I tell people this is how I'm testing it. And we could add more to it. There's other things that we can test on the pickup. It's just not something that 95% of the audience is going to grasp. Most people that watch YouTube only look at the K rating. They test at 20K ohms and they just look at, oh, look at the ohms of this pickup. So I try to give a little bit more by showing the Henrys and inductance, but there's so much more to it. And I'm not going to break out a spectrum analyzer and do all these things to analyze pickups. My reviews are already 2 hours long. So if we started getting into that, it would just get crazy. You know, it's just like the metal conversation on stainless steel. We know budget guitar companies are using a low grade stainless steel. How do I know? I cut the frets. And when I put my fret tool on a Leo James and it's got stainless steel, and my non-diamond coated fret file cuts that stainless steel like a nickel fret, that's telling me it's a low grade stainless steel because I'm not using a diamond embedded file. I'm using just a standard Fret Guru file. And I've probably leveled frets on 80, 90 budget guitars with that file, with stainless steel frets. If that was a Sir, that fret file would be done because they're using a higher grade stainless. And that's why a lot of people are like, oh, it's stainless, we're going to charge you extra, because they know their $80 fret file is going to get worn out much quicker. It's going to take them longer to cut them. I can do a level and crown on a Leo James with stainless steel just as fast as I can do a level and a crown on this Ibanez that has nickel frets. It's going to feel about the same. Believe me. It is. Now, Epiphone just come out with this Futura line with stainless steel. I'm really kind of curious to get my fret file on one and see, is it good stainless? You know, and we had a troll there for a while picking on me about it. There's different grades of metal, just like in aluminum. There's 6505 and then 7505 grades of aluminum. There's grades of everything. There's mild steel, there's this steel, there's that. Stainless works the exact same way. You can make a very soft, cheap, inexpensive stainless, or you can make a really high-end stainless that's very hard, very corrosion resistant. You know, what are they using? Could I go out and buy a tester with a needle that pokes a hole, that pushes down, and you can check the dent and the pressure, and you could check it? Sure. I'm not going to go out and spend $1,000 on a metallurgy tester to test the hardness of metal, because I already know on budget guitars the screws are soft. Well, how do I know? I take them apart. I take Fireflies apart. You take them apart a couple times, and there's no way you're not going to damage the hardware because it's very, very soft metal. They're cheap screws. Exact same thing with the saddles. You know, it's all zinc alloy. That's very, very cheap. They use it because it is cheap. It's a $200 to $350 guitar. That's why they use it. It's a real cheap zinc metal. And the chrome plating is also thin. That's why it pits and gets blemishes so quickly. Look at Fireflies. Linnell has one of the Amazon Fireflies before they went to the ball and frets. The hardware on that guitar is black looking, okay, and it won't polish out, and that's just from playing. And that guitar hasn't been played a tremendous amount, but the acid and the oils in your hand got on that real thin chrome finish, and it has just darkened and made the chrome look crappy. And you can clean it up, but it still has that brown right where your hand goes on that ABR bridge. It's not going to come out. It's a very cheap chrome plating. And I'm sure the metal isn't as good as what Epiphone is using or Gibson. You know, all that costs extra money. The less something is produced, the more expensive it becomes. So as you guys keep buying these cheap guitars, that just fuels more cheap guitars. Why? Because the manufacturers make cheaper tuners, cheaper bridges, they produce more of them, which lowers the cost. So when you buy a cheaper product, more expensive products sell less. That means that screw or that hardware is made less. So now it becomes more expensive to make because your production run now is smaller. Why do you think Eminence, EV, all these companies are no longer in the States? We are our own worst enemy. We want a cheap instrument, but we want quality. And they have just gotten to the point now where the hardware and stuff has gotten so cheap, you can't make it much cheaper. You know, when you start breaking screws off in your body because the screw is so soft, and when you're twisting it, the head just pops off, that's cheap hardware. And yes, that's happened to me. That happened to me on a Firefly with a white ash body. The ash is hard wood. You go to put it in, it hadn't been in the guitar for like 2 or 3 months. The guitar was apart, put it in, and it pops right off. That tells me that's a freaking cheap screw. But it's a $200 guitar. I don't expect it to have grade 8 bolts on it or screws, but that's what you're buying. So there is a difference. Now, it's up to you. Is it worth paying twice the money, okay, to get something a little better? Does that hardened screw or that triple ply pick guard make your guitar sound any better? No, it doesn't. The screws holding your pick guard on and stuff like that doesn't. But when you start getting into the material of the bridge, sure. A zinc-based metal isn't going to sound like a solid brass bridge. You know, that's why when you get on Kaler's website, he'll say, on your saddles, do you want steel, brass, stainless? And I think they have titanium as well. Okay? And then you can pick your base plate. What do you want your base plate made out of? You can mix and match. What do you want your block made out of? So I would prefer a hardened steel base plate, okay? Stainless steel saddles with a brass insert where the string goes over the brass, but the saddle is stainless, okay? With a brass block for something smooth. If I was playing more hair music and I wanted more bite, I would go with a solid steel block under the bridge, okay? I wouldn't do brass. Brass is going to be more warmer, a little less bitey. But with your stainless steel saddles, using brass can offset it. That's why I said I would use a brass saddle with stainless steel saddle with brass inserts. There are so many different things. If that wasn't a thing, then no one would offer it. There's musicians that swear that this material or that material makes a difference. Okay? I'm not going to argue with them. I can hear it. When I put stainless steel saddles on a guitar, I hear the guitar gets brighter. If I play a guitar with stainless steel frets on it, I know it's brighter. When you playing chords and you have stainless steel frets, okay, and as long as it's on the open, it doesn't make a difference. But as soon as you fret a chord, you're on that stainless steel, and it's a little brighter. Is it a lot brighter? No, but it's a little brighter. Now you put stainless steel saddles on, it's a little brighter. So now you want to offset that. Well, how do you offset it? You do it just like this company did. These are stainless, okay? But the base plate's solid brass, and it's the high mass. So they're offsetting the little bit of brightness that you get out of these with a much larger, thicker piece of brass. I mean, can I tell the difference between this bridge and the other bridge? No. Is there a difference? Absolutely. If I A-bait them and I could hear one right after the other, I can guarantee you this bridge probably has a little more sustain, and it may be just a fraction brighter. But it took me 2 weeks to put the guitar together. So when I got the guitar together, I didn't bring it upstairs and go, wow, this thing's got so much more sustain and it's so much brighter and punchier. I just noticed that the guitar felt a little better and it's got good sustain. It had good sustain before. It had good solid pickups in it before, but I like it a little better. How much better is it? In my opinion, I don't know. It's better. Is it $210 better because that's what the part cost me? Yeah. $210 is $210. I would say yes, it is $210 better than it was in its stock form. But I could be completely wrong. I'd love to take a stock RGA, record it, plug this one in, record it, and don't make any changes. And then someone just say, which one do you like better? Would I guarantee that I'm going to pick this guitar? I'm not going to say that. And I don't know, I work on guitars, and you're like, well, you're just shooting yourself in the foot now. I'm letting you guys know a lot of the things that we do on guitars, how much difference does it really make? You know, Jupe can tell you, I did a guitar, and we're changing caps on his guitar. So when he pulls it, how much difference does that 0.022 make versus a 0.047 cap? It does make a difference. I'm not saying that. It makes a difference. But when Jupe played that guitar, did he go, oh man, this 0.022 just sucks? I don't know why he did that and just left it in the 407. Probably not. He probably went, yeah, I kind of hear the difference. But it wasn't like it was, oh my gosh, this thing is so much better. It doesn't work that way. Just like earlier, I said you can add capacitance on the output lead of your guitar and you can revoice your pickup. That's a very old school thing. Paul Reed Smith does this constantly, except Paul Reed Smith ties it to the red and the white where he bonds the humbuckers together. He adds a capacitor there and then goes to ground. You would think it would ground the pickup out, but it doesn't. It revoices that pickup. Open up some Paul Reed Smiths and you're going to start seeing that capacitor there. He's shaping, he's voicing that pickup. He's shaping it just a little bit. Why? I don't know why. Maybe that's one of his tricks where he's got these amount of lines at this gauge with this pickup, with this charge, he gets X. But when they put it in this guitar, it has a different sound than this guitar. So maybe he's like, okay, we're going to add a capacitor right here, and we're going to revoice this pickup in this guitar to give it this sound. And manufacturers will also do this, just like what you just hear Brian say. What does Squier do versus Fender? Well, Squier tells their techs, set the action a little higher, add a little bit more relief. Why are they doing that? Because they don't want that Squier to play as good as the Fender. So they're telling the techs at the stores, this is how we recommend you set up the guitar. They don't have to set it up that way. But they want that guitar to have a little higher action, a little more relief, because they don't want it to play as good as a standard or this. And then you look at the Fender specs versus the standard, the American, and you're going to see slight changes. A setup is a setup. It doesn't matter if you got cheap pickups or great pickups. A certain setup, if you like it, works whether I put DiMarzio's or Seymour Duncan's in this guitar, or whether they're guitar heads, or it doesn't matter. That action height is the action height I like. So they're doing that to skew you up to a higher end. So what would be more cost effective? To make, let's say, 200,000 pickups all the same, or make 5 variances of those pickups for different models? How much difference is the Quantum pickup versus the DiMarzio? So if I take a Quantum pickup and I got plenty of time, I got time to waste, and I start playing around with capacitors, okay, where it goes to the volume, and I put an inline capacitor on that, and I go right from where it bonds and then come off that capacitor to ground. How many times would I have to change that capacitor to revoice that pickup to make it sound more like its big brother, the DiMarzio? Because that's what it is. It's a clone of the DiMarzio. I guarantee you, you could, if you found the right one, you could make that pickup to where it was indistinguishable to the air. And that's just me thinking, talking out my butt. But I'm thinking you could take that quantum and add capacitance to it, and you could revoice that pickup to make it sound very much like its big brother, its DiMarzio brother, at a fraction of the price. A capacitor is $2 max. You're talking a low voltage, as long as you get a good, non-drift capacitor, something within, a nice J labeled capacitor, very little drift. Voltage doesn't matter. There's no voltage. It's a passive guitar. So it doesn't have to be this big, huge cap. They're probably 20 or 30 cents a piece. Buy a bunch of different ones and start playing around with it. But you're going to have to A-B it.
Jupe said, Avery, I think the pup I sent you may have issues. The tone pot does, as you will see. Everything was fine on the stream when you played it, and even when I got it back, but it acted up again. Not your fault.
I haven't taken it out of the box yet, Jupe. It's been crazy. I'm so far behind down in the shop. We haven't worked on a guitar in about 2 weeks. Work's been nuts. The house has been nuts. Friday, I went to the dentist. I lost a day's pay for absolutely nothing. That's why we're here tonight. So I come on because one, you make X amount of money per day. Okay. I work for a living. So if I miss a day at work, that's loss of X dollars. So if I miss a day at work, okay, and then I go to the doctor and they charge me $200, well, I lost $200 for the doctor's investment plus a whole day of work. That's an expensive doctor visit. So when you schedule an appointment and they say, yes, we can do that, and we're going to set this up for payments, and you get there and they say, well, we can't, we got to pay up front. Boy, I tell you what, I get pissed because I lose a whole day's pay. So it's been a rough. This past month for us has just been really rough. Actually, the last 3 months, because my Toyota blew up. You buy a Toyota because you heard it's reliable. Come to find out, not saying anything. Mine exploded. You do you. If you've got one that's been great. Mine blew up, and I'm not the only one. So I had to purchase another vehicle, and it's not quite twice the cost of my Toyota, but it's damn close. So that has put a financial strain on us because we still owe on Linnell's car. It's life. And life sometimes just does that to us. So when I come on the stream, it's like when you pick up your guitar, it's your disconnect, and it's what keeps us sane. So Linnell, someone, I think it was Kurt said, are we going to stream tonight? I looked at Linnell, I was freaking, of course we're going to stream tonight. Because just like you guys, I come here to vent, and I come here to relax. I don't want to argue. I'm not right. You guys aren't right. Nobody here is right or wrong. Does that kind of make sense? We have an opinion, and then we all throw them out there, and then we talk about it. Just like we're talking about capacitance on pickups. If you guys disagree, then you can say there's no way that you can do that, and tell me why. I think you could. I could be wrong. But I'm openly admitting electronics is my weak point. If everyone, thank you, Mr. Devastator. That's what funds the channels, guys. If everyone has a strong point. If you listen to my guitar playing, I have certain things that I feel I'm pretty good at, and I have certain things that I really suck at. working on guitars is the exact same way. I am really good at finish repairs. I'm really good at, refrets and dressings and doing maintenance. I'm good at building bridges and fixing Floyd Roses and Kahlers. But when it comes to electronics and pickup wiring and understanding what this capacitor is going to do in relation to this capacitor or an audio taper versus a linear versus putting a capacitor on the red white and then going to ground or not having it there and then putting it on the other side of the pickup, I haven't tinkered with it that much. That's why I say you need to go find a channel, and the only one I can think of is Dylan Talks Tone, and he'll give you his opinion, plus he'll also show you this is what happens when you do X with this capacitor or that capacitor. That's all you can do. And you also have to keep in mind that this is YouTube, so you're listening to a compressed, audio. So you're not getting 100% of what that other person is hearing on the other side. So it makes it really difficult. And it's like learning guitar. You didn't pick up the guitar and become Joe Satriani overnight. Very few people do. So you can't just say, okay, today I'm going to get in. Oh, thank you, Pentagore. We no longer have a clappy button because the AG08's gone. Thanks, guys. There's just like playing guitar, working on guitars and doing electronics is a learning thing. The more you do it and the more different things you do, the better you become. Someone can work on guitars for 50 years, but if they're putting in the exact same pickup, the exact same cap, the exact same push-pull, and they're doing the exact same thing over and over, how good are they? Can you go up to them and say, well, how's this work with this? They don't know. All they've been doing is putting JBs and antiquities or this or that in and they go, they have a default. Oh, shred guitar, put a JB in it. Oh, okay, put antiquities in it. Put a P90 antiquity in it. Or, oh, you got a Strat, put this in it. They have a default set because they know that works.
Annoying Critic said Bill Lawrence said that any pickup can be imitated by RC network.
I can believe that. I can believe that. I can believe that. Just like I tell people, the cheapest thing you can do is an EQ pedal between your guitar and your amp. Change your voicing a little bit. But I also want to qualify, the less EQ that you have to use, the better off you are. So if you've got a certain sound you want and your guitar's on the bright side, why not change the cap? Put a little darker cap in it. That's going to bring your treble, okay, or your presence back more in line to 50%, okay? You can go from a .047 to an 033 or go up a little higher, whichever one you, just kind of do little tiny changes. Changing from an 047 to 033 might be one, from going from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock, or maybe 1:30. Maybe it'll make that much difference, okay? Once you get it in the ballpark and you're doing less EQ work, you're closer to that root signal, okay? Because not only, especially if you're playing out live, not only are you trying to please your ear, but it has to be something workable for the sound guy to do his thing on his side. And you may not like your sound guy, but let the sound guy do his job, okay? Don't throw a bunch of stuff in your signal path. Let the man, you're paying him, or he's paid by the bar. You're at his mercy. The best thing, my best advice to you is try to work with the gentleman, especially if he's paid by the bar. Try to work with him the best you can. He knows the bar. He knows certain things are going to be absorbed or what bounces off of what. And he's going to try to he doesn't want you to sound bad. He wants it to sound good. That's his job. If you sound bad and the next band sounds bad, then the owner's going to go, Every band I've been getting in here since I hired this cat sounds like crap. Maybe it's my sound guy. His job is to make you sound as good as possible so people buy beer and dance and spend money. That's his job. With that being said, try to work with him. If he comes up to you and asks for certain things, try to give it to him because he's needing that on his end. But also look at him and say, look, I need this. I need to be able to hear this so I can stay, whether it's the guitar player, the drummer, the bass player, the vocals. Tell him what you need and try to work it out together. If you butt heads, you're going to have a long night. Yeah, trust me. Yeah, trust me. And if you go and say, well, I'm going to show this sound guy, and you're just shooting yourself in the foot. And believe me, I've seen it happen sometimes. Are we missing anything, hon? I kind of went off on a tangent.
No.
Okay, I need a flavor, honey. Can I have one of my drinks out of the fridge? I didn't get hot cocoa this tonight, guys. So we're on a monster kick tonight. I practice a lot with backing tracks. Helpful. I've been doing that a lot, Cheryl. And I will say, I don't know if Blue Mox is still in the group. I know he was in here way earlier. The Guitar Talk universe. Okay. I watch those guys whenever I see them on. And there's usually always 3 people. And they just pick tracks with different keys. They'll say, hey, it's in E minor, it's in C, and they just play over it. And I'm not saying they're always nailing it. They're not. But the whole point in it is to do something that's uncomfortable. Playing over backing tracks and stuff like that really pushes you. As long as you've got a good ear and you can hear how far you want to push something out of tune, if you're that kind of player, I think that's great. But keep in mind, guys, I like jazz and I like pushing the envelope too. I really do. But if you go out in a bar and you start playing some obscure, you're way off in left field and only a musician can like it, odds are you're not going to go back to that bar. It could be technically so difficult that it's crazy. The average person just doesn't want to hear it. As much as I like doing hammer-ons and goofing off and dive bombs and stuff like that, if I go out in a bar playing in a band, I play completely different. I play very rudimentary. Why? Keep it simple, stupid. Keep it simple. You're less likely to make a mistake. Just play the song. Don't try to be the greatest thing since sliced bread. Just get in there. Let everyone have their space, and entertain. I played with a lot of guitar players that all they wanted to do was take a 30-second solo and turn it into a 5-minute solo. Nobody wants to hear that. Especially if you're playing variety bars, nobody wants to hear that. So if you've got a guitar player like that, your best bet is to go up to them and say, look, you're a good guitar player. But they didn't come here to listen to you. I hate to say it. They come here to listen to songs that they know they can get up and dance, have a good time. Now, if you're fortunate enough to be in a band and they're coming to see you and they know you, that gives you more leeway. But in a variety band, you don't. Oh, thank you, Mr. Annoying Credit. In a variety band, that's not how it works. I went through that, trying to show off. And every night that I went out trying to show off, we did worse. Especially if you start doing things that the other band members don't know that you might be doing. You throw the cadence off, you throw the time off. The drummer might not be paying attention. He might be counting measures and bars. And here you way off on a tangent, not paying attention. It's better just to play it through. There's a time and a place for it, guys. I like getting with guys. I was going to ask Brian to come over one night and just jam. It's been so long since I just got with somebody, sat down and just jammed out some songs and had some fun. you know, other than like YouTube. Just sit in the living room here. I got a bass amp. He can bring his bass over, plug into that, bring his little pedal board, whatever he's got. We can just have some fun, you know, maybe make some hot dogs, some hamburgers, whatever, you know, and enjoy music for what it is. It's been a while since I've done that. So I'm sure we're going to do it eventually. Coming on doing YouTube, I enjoy it. I do. I really enjoy getting in here and talking to you guys. Yeah, always be tuning. Exactly. Don't forget, always be tuning. ABT. That's it. You might need to cut your nut if you're always be tuning. But I just wanna enjoy it for what I started playing for, if that makes sense. That's why I got this. Something different, something that we can have fun. I'm gonna retune it up to a standard tune. I think the guitar has a really good sound. Now, it's a single coil. I think it has a rocking sound. I would have killed for a guitar with a single coil to sound like that 25 years ago. A single coil's always felt flat on my guitar rig. I mean, I could never get a single coil. Like I've got an HSS PV Nitro, and I always felt I had a volume pedal, and I always felt whenever I broke a string and I had to use that guitar as the backup, because my other guitar had active. And the humbucker in the HSS, I didn't have an issue with. It was just a little under. But when I went to that passive single coil, my whole rig went out of whack, because my amp was set up more for the Vandenberg and the active Nitro, not the passive Nitro. So to sit here and play this now... That's just incredible for a single coil guitar. And I've noticed with the lock tail bridge, you can get away with more. Even though I miss the tremolo bar, I'm not getting, when I bend, the tremolo isn't kicking out, throwing my other strings out of tune. It makes, I hear the difference. When I pick up my Schecter now, and if I do that, and I'm hitting... It's a completely different monster, because the other notes just die bomb. They go, whoa, because I'm I'm starting to dig the hardtail, and I've gotten little tricks to make it sound like I'm using a tremolo. And it's pushed me to go, how can I get that? Because I'm bending up right there. I'm going to bend up more. So the wall, it gives it that tremolo effect without using a tremolo. I don't know if you guys have tinkered around with that, but that's just something that I've been doing just to try to give it that sound without actually using a tremolo. I'm all tied up in my guitar cable. All right, guys. It is 10:08, and we are going to call it for tonight. I know we went like, what was it, 3.5 hours Thursday? It was something crazy.
It was like 3 hours, I think.
I don't know. I think it was 3 hours and 15 minutes. It was a crazy. If you guys missed it, please go back and watch last Thursday's stream. We started, if you're new here and you've not been logging in on Thursday night, we're doing a new thing called Tech Talk. And we have Brian from Shenandoah Music coming over every other week. And we're just going to go over technical stuff on guitars. So setting up, problems, fretwork, end dressings, all that kind of stuff. Anything that revolves around you working on your guitar, that's what that stream is going to be about. I can tell you already, Thursday, we have a very special guitar to review from a subscriber. I'm not going to say who sent the guitar in, but it is here. And it is acclimating to the house, and it is a freaking cool guitar. That's all I'm going to say. And if you already know which guitar it is, let's keep it a secret. And this is a guitar, I'm going to throw a bone out. Until Thursday, I had never played one of these guitars. Never played. And this is an iconic guitar. This guitar has probably done more rock and roll music. Well, it's done a hell of a lot of rock and roll music, and I've never played one. Finally got to play one, so I can actually put the little check. Yes, I have played that guitar. Awesome guitar. But Thursday we're going to do a review on it. We're going to try to put it up so you'll know what it is probably Wednesday night if you pay attention. But we're going to do a live review Thursday night on that guitar, and then next Thursday it'll be back to Tech Talk. It is a wooden one, Devastator. It is not a carbon fiber guitar. It is made of wood. And I will throw another bone out there. It's made from mahogany. It is a mahogany guitar. Mahogany. Yeah. That's all we're going to go. It's mahogany. And it's an awesome rocking machine. So I can think of, well, there's more than two, but I can think of two artists that put this guitar on the map and just make it freaking stupid awesome rocking guitar. Yeah, it's badass. So we're going to review it on Thursday. It's a cool guitar, and I want everyone to come check it out. If you haven't already, guys, please go down, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. We're really trying to up the ante here. Any suggestions on the stream is welcome. I am getting ready to start doing more than YouTube. So we're going to probably go out on a streaming platform and also Facebook. Within the next month and a half, we're going to be expanding our audience. I am now working on an add-on program to where I want anyone that's on a different platform can type in and you guys can see what they're typing and they can see what you're typing. I know those programs exist. I just don't know the cost. So right now we're kind of trying to feel it out. We may just have to start doing it, and I'll have multiple chat windows, but I think you guys really need to be able to see if someone's on Spotify, what they're saying, and the people on Spotify saying, I know it's possible. I just don't know how complicated it's going to be, but we are going to expand the channel in that form. And of course, we've already done the expansion on Tech Talk. So we're always looking for constructive criticism on making the channel better and anything on our guitar reviews to make it better. We are going back and editing our live reviews and re-uploading those. The first two I've done, it goes from about 2.5 hours down to an hour and a half. So I want everyone to go back and watch the edited versions. If you guys feel I need to edit them more, okay, and make it a much more simpler review since it's not live, that would be something I could do. I'm still trying to pack in all that information. Maybe it's something I just need to go, if you want all the information, go check out the live. This is the detuned, I'm going to plug it in and give you final thoughts and play on it type review. Looking for feedback on that. Guys, let me know. And again, I want to thank everybody. Without you guys, I couldn't do the stream. And as I said earlier, with everything that happened to me on Friday, coming in and doing the stream and jamming and talking to you guys, it's like going on vacation.
Devastator
it
said,
unplugs the stress.
make them 15 minutes.
Wow. I think the demo section is longer than 15 minutes.
He said Avery Shorts, LOL.
Yeah, an Avery short would be 30 minutes. I mean, literally, I said, well, let me shoot for 30 minutes. I don't think we could even do fit and finish and demo and final thoughts in 30 minutes. So it may be one of those things where I just have to maybe skip right to the demo section and do final thoughts on the guitar. And if they want more information, maybe they could come and do the live. But what I've seen on the live, there's a lot of interaction on the live. So even though it's 2.5 hours, just cutting out Q&A and the interaction cuts it down to about an hour and a half. So I could probably shave them down to, you guys watch a couple of them. We've got one coming up on Monday. A lot of you saw the live. So when you watch the edited version, you can go, yeah, he needs to chop more out, or it's fine the way it is. That's kind of up to you guys. You guys are the rude audience, if that makes sense. And this is the clientele that we're looking for. We don't need people with short attention spans. That's not what the channel's about. The channel's about loving guitar and wanting to know everything about the guitar. Because you could be the next person wanting to buy that guitar, and I don't want to leave something out, if that makes sense. All right, guys, if you left a super chat, thank you so much. And it's good to see Pentagore in the chat. I know he's always in the background, guys. Pentagore lurks. He's back there just kind of doing, he's back there. So you guys, each week, just say hi to Pentagore. He's always here. He always waits till later on in the stream and then comes in. It's so good to see him. Pentagore's been around for a long time. He's like family, just like Devastator and Kurt. So many of you I kind of look at like Jupe. I mean, holy mackerel, Christmas cards this year is going to be chaos.
Pentagore said, I have a suggestion to improve the channel.
Okay.
Linnell Cam.
Oh my God.
And Devastator said, yes, Linnell Cam. And then Kurt said, a Linnell Jam Cam.
I am going to work on it. The only issue I'm having is, since that guitar come in on May, I had planned on getting 2 cameras. If that actually comes in this month, I'm going to have to call my Sweetwater guy and see maybe if I can do 1 camera in the guitar and put that on 1 billing cycle. That wouldn't be horrible. I could do that. and it would still be cheaper than the wing rack payment. I I don't want to tie myself up with the guitar or the camera because it's saying this month. So definitely need to upgrade my cameras. It just takes time, guys. It really does. It's just a thing that takes time. And I'm making payments on the next giveaway. We get our next YouTube check the 21st. So then that check goes down. It goes down on the guitar that we're doing for the next giveaway. So as soon as that gets paid off, I'll introduce and show the next. But the guitar is on layaway. We are making payments on it. So I think it's 21st, 22nd when we get the YouTube check. So that'll go towards that. It's one of those things. We're trying to do the best we can with what we have. And if you go back and watch 3 years ago, it's far better than it used to be. I don't think we had any popping or cracking tonight. I think the guitar sounded pretty good tonight. I am getting better with the newer equipment. It's little baby steps, guys. You can't be you can't get it all in one time, if that makes sense. I view this just like playing guitar. I didn't learn how to play a G chord overnight. It took months of switching from the C to the D to the G. Exact same principle. It just takes some time. Are you going to make an appearance?
The back of me is just my shirt.
Oh, she's.
Just my shirt.
Oh, look. You got the Grateful Dead shirt. She likes jiggling that butt, guys.
Oh my gosh.
She knows it too. Oh, all right, guys. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, we got a chat rate of 10. The chat rate goes through the roof towards the end of the stream, guys. Oh, and lobster. What is it? Lobster what, Brian?
I forget. It's lobster.
It's something lobster on Discord. That is Brian, guys. And I didn't know that until Thursday night. And he had been posting, I think, for over a month. And I'm like, this lobster cat's pretty smart fella. I'm reading this. And then when I realized, I'm like, well, duh, no wonder. So we go to Discord, we've got a tech room set up, post your questions. Brian's going to be in there.
Lobster Bash.
Lobster Bash. That's what it is. That's Brian from Shenandoah. So just so everyone knows, if you guys want to send him a direct message, asking questions, he does it full time. So give him some time to respond to you. Or even if you want to ask questions, we do have questions and answers for live streams. Guys, you can go to that room in Discord and put, I have a question for Brian on the next Tech Talk. And we won't erase it, even though that's for each stream. If you put attention Brian there, we'll know that that's a topic that you want Brian to cover on the next Tech Talk. So we're getting better at it, guys. Thanks everyone that contributes. That's really what it's about. All right, guys. Thank you so much. And remember, don't forget, we got our guitar review on Thursday. I almost said what it was. I'm not going to say what kind of guitar it is, but it's an awesome guitar for Thursday. And then next Thursday, Tech Talk. And of course, next Saturday, Gear Chat. And Monday night, we're releasing a video. It's an edited version of one of the live reviews. I'm going to start doing that even with the Tech Talk, a shorter version of the live and post. So that's going to be the videos that come up. It's all going to be derivative from the lives, just so everyone knows. All right, guys, thank you so much, and have a great remainder of the weekend. I hope to see everyone Thursday night.